back, and I'm here with my guest because I already introed him, but I'm going to do it again because some of y'all probably didn't hear it.
One more game.
One more again, live happens. So you all can see the man himself is here with us, Mr. James Hicks from Hicks New Media. Uh, my friend, my brother, one of the shoulders I stand on to get this thing done. So I appreciate you, sir, and I appreciate your kindness and your patience with me as I wade through this night. So let's just do this and make sure the technology is correct. It should be streaming to your channel right now.
It
If it
is.
is,
It
we
is.
should be in
I see
good
it.
shape.
Yeah. And
Okay,
and you know what?
awesome.
What I want to after we're done, I want the whole blooper reel. So I want the whole 5 or 10 minutes that we had prior to you being able to get it going right. I want that blooper reel because I'm gonna put that out there somewhere. I'm just saying.
The blooper
Yeah,
reel. Yes, we have a blooper reel, y'all. But
it's
as
gonna
you
be
can
good.
see, we have, and just to just make the, we're going to flow with this. It's not formal tonight. I'm going to encourage everybody who's in the building, ask your questions, especially if you are curious about this thing called artificial intelligence and how it can help you, because the person who can answer your questions is right here with us tonight in studio. So I'm excited about that. We do have some folks in the building with us, a couple of folks already chiming in saying good evening. So we're going to say hello to them. And we have Frank is here with us. And thank you, Frank, for being in the building and moderating. And we also have the emotional CEO here with us. And other people will be chiming in. They probably will wonder where is she, because she's always exactly at 6:30.
It's all good. I'll send out a couple of tweets saying that we're live as well, so folks can come check out. There we go.
So I'm going to start right off asking a question, and the first question that I want to ask you is your broad brush assessment of how this world of artificial intelligence, which we know is not new, how it's going to impact those who are serious leaders in terms of growing their business, growing their organizations, from a productivity standpoint, from improving their work streams and workflows.
Great question. Actually, great question. And great question that we can go a number of different directions in. Listen, artificial intelligence, as you said, is not new, but this generative AI piece is new, right? It is relatively a new piece, right? Just in terms of being able to feed a algorithm a prompt or feed a system a prompt, a bit of information, and expect to get something out of that initial prompt, right? Multiple pieces of content, multiple pieces of information, whatever the case may be. Kind of building blocks is a good way to put it. And I tell people a lot of time, you cannot be afraid of technology. You have to be able to leverage technology, utilize it, and know how to harness it for its essential good, right? There's pros and cons to everything out there in the world, professionally and personally. But from this generative AI perspective, especially for folks who are skilled workers, I heard some graphic designers actually talking earlier. Talking about, is generative AI going to take their jobs and take their roles away? No. Again, as utilize these frameworks and applications as tools, but understand how you can harness them to improve on them. Get a framework, get a foundation for the information that you're looking to disseminate to your community or to your customers, and build on that. So make it your own. Use it again. Use it like the Cliff Notes when we were in high school, right? Just you got a little bit of the information, but you still built on that to get the entire story and to get the entire output and the end result for folks. So don't be afraid of it. Learn how to leverage it. Understand and respect it as well, because anything could be used for evil, anything could be used for bad, anything can be used for negativity. But find the ways that you can actually take advantage of some of these tools and use them to the betterment of your end goal and your end result, your business, whatever the case may be.
Awesome. So I want to hop right into some of the nitty gritty because people always want to know what tools.
Hmm.
So if you have, what what are some of the tools in terms of productivity? And I'm thinking about it in terms of communication and collaboration first, because when you're in leading anything, you've got to do a lot of communicating and collaborating. So
Yeah.
some systems out there that can be used, and how can they be used to further our communication and collaboration?
That's a loaded question too, and the reason I say that is because right now it's hot. Right, there are new tools, new platforms, new utilities coming out weekly, and that's a good thing, right? Again, for the consumer, for the end user. But if you get caught up looking at the shiny object out there, then you'll never settle down, or you'll never actually utilize something and get to learn the tools and processes that are within your toolkit. So again, and I say that, but I do have a handful that I came out with. I really like to quantify and classify generative AI in some categories. So creation, distribution, analytics, automation and productivity, and then from just note taking. To be honest with you, that's a huge thing for me. So note taking, I look at that as when I'm on a Zoom call, or when I'm on a Google Meet or something of that nature. There are tools that will actually transcribe the entire conversation and actually capture that video, and actually after the session generate a summary of the meeting. So come up with actually bulleted action items from the conversation. So there are tools out there to do that. If you want me to mention some names, there's like Fathom, Fatho. I'll give you the links to all these tools that I'm missing as well, because I'm coming off the dome with them. But
Okay, I
Fathom,
haven't heard of Fathom, so that'll be an
yeah,
interesting one.
integrates with all of the again, the video conferencing systems. So like a WebEx and the Zooms and the Teams like that. So Fathom, Tactic, Tactiq, and another one that I use is called Blocks. I'm gonna give you three of each category. How about that? So Fathom, Tactic, and Blocks, Blocks. And
Okay.
Blocks is really what I use. It's a desktop app, it's a browser extension, and it's my personal assistant. It's my AI personal assistant that says when I got a meeting, when I got something going on, it'll tell me what I have to do. I've got the reminder set 15 minutes at a time to know I'm on Florence's stream. Here's the URL to that stream. This is what you said you're going to talk about. And it kind of keeps me in line in terms of things that I got to do. So it's integrated with my calendar and things like that. So that's what I use for keeping track of notes, keeping track of my day to day activities as well.
Okay, great. So we've got some folks in the building who are heckling you, sir.
I would, you know what? I don't even have to look, but it's
You,
probably some of them
but
trifling. Well, oh, I'm sorry.
but I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with a gentleman who is brand new. I've never seen you in my stream before, and I want to say
What?
welcome,
Hey,
Dr. Elo. But I
Elo.
have watched him. But yeah,
Elo, a bad man. Listen, Dr. Elo is a
yes,
bad man. Yes, he's a good
yes.
man to have in the community. So I'm glad to have you, sir.
Absolutely welcome. Please feel free to jump in. And this is the heckler in the
We
building.
not we not answering no questions from the peanut gallery. We not gonna deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
So
We
so
not
he
gonna.
he does so he really does have a question, and in
No, we
all
don't.
seriousness, because someone else may have this question, is what's that tool to generate meeting content? You
There's
just
a number of them. He's stuck on the tarmac.
tarmac
Yeah.
in
See,
NYC. See?
I ain't gonna mess with him because he's trying to get back home. So he's been out doing this thing at conference. He's out there conference season. So there's a couple, Steve, that I use. I was mentioning Blocks, Blocks, but I also use a tool called Fellow.app. So Fellow.app generates my run of show. So Blocks is what I
Okay.
use to do my personal assistant type of, again, these are the things that you got to do overall on a day-to-day basis, right? And go through that piece. When I do a stream, when I do a consulting session, I use Fellow.app to actually generate the templates for my run of show, my topic, my bio. It's got all of that information already plugged in, and that's how I send out information to the folks that I'm going to be talking to. So that's probably the app that he's talking about, because I've mentioned that to him in the past.
Okay. So that's an interesting one, because it what I've talked about is when you with folk is when you're planning anything, right? You have it in your
Mhm.
calendar and you put all your links in and all of that. This takes it to the next. It elevates that even further because
Yeah, I
it
mean, and again,
consolidates
that's
it.
at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to do, right? If you're pushing out a lot of content, if you're doing a lot of things, either from a professional, even from a personal perspective, you're looking for tools to help you manage that workflow. So the ones that I've mentioned thus far, the Fathom, the Block, Tactic, Fellow, allow me to present it with some information, present it with my Google Calendar, present it with some templates for what I want the runner show to look like for a Perspectives in Focus or a Team No Sleep or a digital collective. So I present kind of that framework. I give it that prompt, and then it'll help me spit out what the conversation could look like. Again, I go in and I manipulate it myself, but it helps me get the conversation started by giving me leading questions and
Mm-hmm.
leading conversation pieces and
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. So I'm leveraging those tools to eliminate some of the time to do all of that information. Because again, when you're doing multiple sessions, like you're doing as well, and having guests on, time really is critical. So if there's anything out there to help you with eliminating some of that administrative piece of doing the thing, find the one that works for you within your space and take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of it.
Yeah. And so I like that one. We you talked about some other areas. So that's calendar management,
Yeah,
uh,
calendaring and note taking.
calendaring
Yeah.
and note taking, scheduling. Have you found a one that would bolt on to like a Calendly or any of those scheduling tools? Would there be any benefit to adding?
Calendly
Because it's
integrates with a ton of systems, and what
mm-hmm,
Calendly integrates with, I can't even speak right now. It must be Friday afternoon. I'm not even drinking. This is coffee. Are Zapier,
mm-hmm,
Padly, and If This Then That are some critical ones that I use all the time, and those will integrate into a lot of systems as well. So
mm-hmm,
Calendly is how I set up my four types of sessions that people can book me for, either a meeting, live stream, consult, or an office hour. And Calendly will again generate the time, find the free busy time on both of our sides, and then it'll send out a handful of questions. Send me your bio, send me your headshot, send me some questions, things of that nature. Then I'll
mm-hmm,
feed that into my CRM that has integrations from Calendly to Zapier to Moxie, which is the CRM that I use for one of the CRMs that I use for keeping track of all of my information. So
mm-hmm,
yeah, Calendly is really there's a number of them out there, right? There's so many tools out there to do the exact same thing, but Calendly really is slightly above the curve just in terms of integration, right? You can
mm-hmm,
actually book someone through their browser plugin in LinkedIn. You can
mm-hmm,
book someone through their browser plugin or through the mobile app as well. So again, efficiencies in terms of being able to do things quickly. Not saying it's the best. I'm saying it's
mm-hmm,
pretty good, but I'm
mm-hmm.
saying that what it does for me in terms of workflow management, in terms of efficiency, in terms of being able to iterate quickly and easily, Calendly from a calendar perspective does that and feeds into a lot of those other systems and other tools.
So you mentioned some of the things Hicks New Media has been
Yeah.
around. The business has been there for 10 plus years. What, from your standpoint, what are the things you have implemented, such as Flow.app, to help you run the business in generative AI? Because and I'd like to have you have more little bit depth conversation around what that actually means for those who may not really understand. Because artificial intelligence is one thing, generative AI is something else,
Yeah.
conversational AI is yet something else. So if you could, before we get into how you've managed to change some of the things that you've done in business, delve a little bit and help our community understand what are the differences between those. You touched on just the first two, but then you go to the next level to conversational AI.
Well, my thought about this is, and again, I try to be very high level, very 35,000 foot level, so everyone in the community can understand it. So again, artificial intelligence was the aspect of having robots, machines, automation do tasks, right? Think assembly line, think manufacturing, think being able to solve a problem instead of having a human try to solve that problem all the time. Have an algorithm, have a robot, have technology solve that particular problem. Generative AI is, and I actually lump those two together, conversation versus generative. So generative AI is really feeding a prompt to a system that you can then turn into multiple bits of information, right? You feed it, I want to create X, Y, and Z. You feed that into a generative AI algorithm, and it gives you multiple options in terms of what that could look like for the case and for the prompt that you submitted to. Now, from a conversational piece, using artificial intelligence in the realm of business owners, solopreneurs, content creators, especially, I really start leaning towards and thinking about micro content and being able to take something like this, take a long form piece of content and finding the right clips within it, finding the key messages, finding the hooks, finding the conversation aspects that will actually garner retention, using that piece of it, the artificial intelligence algorithm, and saying, grab that 5 minutes when James was actually talking and it was making some sense, and let's cut that up and let's give you the formats that you need to send that to every location that you use. So the LinkedIn's of the world, the YouTube's of the world, wherever the case may be, right? And even taking that video and converting it into text. So generative AI, conversational AI is, again, taking a prompt for me, in my definition that I tell people on the elevator, right, is taking a prompt and then being able to spit out of that multiple bits of information that resonate with that foundational question that you asked of the system.
Awesome. So, you said that and you're talking about prompt, and it leads me to this next point of conversation. So, everyone, if you didn't understand, this is not a scripted deal. We're just having a conversation here. And your heckler is still heckling, sir.
You know what? I hope that I'm not going to wish no bad. You know, the man is trying to get home. He's sitting in a 747. I'm not going to wish him anything. I'm just going to say I hope the food
And
is cold and that the coffee is not
cold.
available on the plane. So yeah,
But when you talk
wish for
about
turbulence.
using generative AI, conversational AI, then to me, naturally, it means we've got to train. And maybe you agree or disagree, or see it differently. Train ourselves to think differently in terms of what questions are we asking. Have
I
you seen or encountered working with folks that they're really starting to, from a productivity standpoint and from a workflow standpoint, lean into really being clear about what questions and how am I asking these questions? Because
that's
the
a great
output you
question.
get is all
Yeah.
about that, right?
Yeah, I just don't think folks understand what questions to or are very hesitant and timid about the questions to ask a system to generate an output. We almost know what we want out of it, but how to ask a system, right? How to actually frame the question. Do we talk like we talk normally? Do we use slang? Do we use abbreviations? Whatever. How do we feed the information into a system to spit out eventually what we want? Like, think about generative AI from the perspective of art and images. I want a picture of Florence in the on the beach with a drink in her hand. Right? How do you word that to a system? You know what you want to come out, but how do you word that into the environment? These systems are getting smarter monthly. Right? We started with ChatGPT 3, built off of GPT-3, and now we've got GPT-4. We've got Perplexity AI. We've got Elon just announcing that he's come out with X.AI. So new organizations, new companies focused on bridging that gap between self-learning technology and self-aware technology. That bridge is actually getting shorter in terms of crossing. You think GPT-3 only knows up to, I think, 2020 or 2021, and
21.
GPT-4, right? I mean, you ask it a question, it doesn't know what happened a couple of years ago. You upgrade your subscription, you go to GPT-4, then you start getting a little bit more current types of information as opposed to historical data. So again, in the evolution of time since we've been talking about generative AI, since it's been on CNN, since it's been on CBS, I'm pointing back at this TV here, right? Since it's been commercialized, it's been very much of a hockey stick type of progression and learning, right? You can teach a computer to learn something much faster than you can teach an individual. So the fact that there are so many organizations, individuals, teams that are out there working on this particular opportunity, I can call it a problem or I can call it a challenge, but this particular opportunity, that's a good thing. how do we leverage that as end consumers? How do we leverage that as business owners, as content creators, as individuals? That's still being fleshed out. And I would, anyone who tells you they know the answer is lying, right? We are all working it out and trying to figure it out on a daily basis because there is so much happening within this particular space. And then when you start looking at it again from a professional side and from a personal side, what are those prompts that you're using? So I will use my tools and I will feed information and I will do a different ask of ChatGPT versus Perplexity AI versus Bard, the Google platform or something like that, just to see what the different scenario is that comes out when I give it that particular prompt.
Right, exactly. And that you, we have folks. We did get a positive comment, so I'm gonna encourage that. And so,
Let me look at these comments.
well, I'm
Hold
gonna.
on, man. Let
You
me
got a
look.
question, so I want to make sure we answer questions. And Dr. Lee Elo says, "What was the name of the IVA blocks?" And I you gave it, and but that was his question. So what was that name? He's looking for that again.
Oh, block
B
BLOKS.
BLOKS dot AP dot IO or dot app. Do you know?
Blocks dot app.
All right, I just
Elo,
dropped it. I just
how
dropped it
about
in
this?
chat.
Elo, what he doing? He got me over here working too.
And
Okay,
so
let's
the
do
man
this,
stuck
brother.
on
There you go.
the man stuck oh gee, the man stuck on the
Uh,
tarmac has a comment about the question. The more you know what you want from an output, the better the question, the better the output. Absolutely.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
you know that has always been the case, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, so again, there's nothing new. You know what you want from the end result. You just have to know how to feed it into the system. You have to know how to program into the system. So the more quality of a question, the more thorough of a question that you can ask these particular algorithms in these particular environments, the better result that you're going to be. And you're right. I mean, in everything that we do, that's the same scenario and the same situation. So
Yeah. Um,
I'm sorry. I try to bring up, my I try to be fancy, do my little eCam thing, I won't do that again. Oh, see, now you got me on full screen. Okay, now I can do it. Hold on one second. Hold on. So
there you
there you
go.
go. There you go, Elo. All right, brother. Blocks, the AI powered productivity assistant. That's the one that I use right there. BLOKS.app.
Yeah.
Look at that.
And
Become the
he
productivity goat, man. Listen, I
oh
normally charge for this information, man. So listen, well, Elo, he gets by. He did all right for me not too long ago. He's all right. Yeah.
well, I'm glad to know that.
There
Treat
should be
him
something
right.
in the
Treat him
mailbox
right.
in a couple of days. There'd actually be something for him in the mailbox in a couple of days. So
So another question that we did get as well, and I'm gonna adjust my thing here is Steve is doing too much. He's doing too much.
there it is right there. Lord have
Not
mercy. I'm gonna use that as
not
a
5
soundbite
minutes,
right
more
there.
like 2 minutes. He's doing the most. We do have some new folks. I want to make sure I say hello to this gentleman, Dagan. So glad to have you here with us tonight, and enjoy. Please make sure you ask your questions. And of course, we have none other than the man who seems like he's everywhere. Tech troublemaker. See him all
Roy's a
over the
good man too.
place.
Yeah, out
See
there
him
doing
all
as
over
well.
the
Yep.
place. And Dr. Elo is getting a laugh out of us. Wait till you see the blooper reel.
Man, we got some hilarious
That
content here for you, man.
was
I was recording.
hilarious.
Flo didn't know I was recording on my end, so I got her. She dropped a few words that listen. I'm not gonna say nothing, but I'm just gonna say yeah. She said some things.
I was I was like, what in the world is happening
Mm-hmm.
here?
It's all good.
So let's just move on. You know, you talked about it.
Yeah.
You see, I'm all out of wacky looking here. So back to that was because of bloopers. I didn't get to make all the adjustments. Uh, you talked about, you know, your personal assistant, your calendar,
Yeah.
managing that content. You talked about using blocks for gathering content when you're in meetings. What about note taking? Because this is a huge one. Note taking. every note-taking app that we can come up with pretty much has said we've now got AI.
Yeah.
But what does that really look like? And how do this not only what does it look like, but how do you figure out what capability is important to you? Because what's important
Yeah, that's a good point.
to different people, it's not always the same.
Yeah, and try not to boil the ocean, folks, either, right? Because again, try not to do more than you really probably need to be doing within the short and the midterm, right? A lot of times, folks will buy extensive packages of software or hardware, whatever the case may be. Mr. Worthy knows the term gas, right? We talk about that a lot. Gear acquisition. A lot of times, we'll get in before we're even ready to be at a particular level. So, and I say a lot of that because some of the tools that I've already mentioned have multiple capabilities. So something like a Fellow.app allows me to do note taking, but I also have leveraged Notion. I've leveraged ClickUp. I've actually moved from Notion back to ClickUp. Some folks are probably not going to like that. I know my man Worthy is a big Notion guy, but I've moved back to ClickUp just because, again, ease of use and from a consolidation of capabilities. ClickUp has a built-in time tracking module. It has a built-in screen sharing module. It has built-in capabilities to integrate with your Google Calendar and things like that. So again, I can do a whole lot of different things with just this one tool, as opposed to just having lists of information and documentation and things of that nature. So from a note-taking perspective, I would say Notion, ClickUp, Fellow, and what else did I use before? Those are really the ones that I've been using for that particular purpose. Again, not trying to. And as new products come out, I'm looking at them and I'm evaluating them because, again, as a subject matter expert, as a technical advisor, I need to know about them, and I will make the right recommendation to folks depending on their need. But for me, I always have at least 3 in my arsenal that I stay up to date on, so I can continue to leverage those skills and build those skills. So Notion, ClickUp, and Fellow from a note taking perspective.
So I'm going to be a little bit nosy because you just piqued my interest when you said it sounded like at one point you were using ClickUp, you moved from ClickUp to Notion, and now you've moved from Notion back to ClickUp.
I go back and forth. Well.
So did you actually, so this is an interesting question.
Yeah.
Did you use any of the AI tools to actually move your data from out of Notion back into ClickUp?
You can export it out. You can export data out. Yeah, so I didn't have to rewrite. I didn't have to rewrite everything like back in the day when I was using Evernote. Oh my gosh, I probably just dated myself with that one. Evernote
I
was
still
dope,
use
right?
and it's. Let me just say this because I was advised. This is not sponsored by any of these people. Nobody asked us to say anything. But I actually still use Evernote, and I've tried Obsidian,
It's just so expensive.
Roam, Notion, any number, and my brain is so wired to Evernote, and I'm trying to get my brain unwired from Evernote because I can get all my data out. That's not an issue.
Right.
But
but think about it again. Why move if you don't have to move? And why move if what you're using is serving the purpose? Which is, again, why I typically will recommend at least 3 to people that I'm talking to. But for like my use case, I've decided to ClickUp because of some of those productivity integrations make sense for me as I'm mobile, as I'm on the move and things of that nature, and being able to be quick. But if Evernote is fulfilling the need for you, and again, I'll say short term and midterm, you'll get to the long term eventually. You'll get there. Once you reach over a particular part of your journey, then you'll know when it's time to maybe move over. But for the short and the midterm, if Evernote is meeting the need that you've got, use it. Don't try again. Don't follow that shiny object that is always coming out with something new every single day, every single week, every single month. But you use what you use, and especially if you're good at it.
Yeah, and I'm I would count myself. I'm not patting myself on the back or sticking my chest
Go
out.
ahead. Don't
But
be,
I'm
don't be humble. It's
an
all right.
Evernote power user because I coach people in using it. I train people how to use it because I've used it since 2008, and I've learned how to build whole infrastructures with templates and now some of the integration that's in there. You're right; they've just raised their prices again.
Yeah.
But for the value that I'm getting, I don't have other tools. So I'm not investing in other tools, though that investment is going into this one tool.
There you go.
So
There you
that so
do it,
we do.
become an expert, and then teach folks how to use it and charge them.
I do charge them.
Right. Okay.
I do charge them.
There you go.
I will be glad to help you.
Hey, man, look at that.
Here's a link to
Little,
schedule some appointments, or I can put you in a program.
I ain't mad at that. Go ahead on.
So we have a question here from Mr. Worthy. Says, what are your thoughts about mind maps? He loves them.
Oh, listen, mind maps are the truth too, man. I love mind maps, and I've used Lucid Chart. Lucid Chart was the app that I use a lot when I again want to come up with something. Lucid Chart and Miro. Miro, I've used Miro before, but Lucid Chart really, again, allows for folks who don't understand or don't know what mind maps are. You have a concept, you have a starting point, and then you start plugging in all of the interrelationships of that particular concept or end goal. And to have it, I'm a graphical person, and as you see, I talk with my hands as well. So I'm a very that kind of person. So being able to see things graphically written down and in a space, as opposed to just having it in your mind, that really helps. That finds different avenues, that finds different circumstances that you probably didn't think of if you're just working by yourself. But if you're collaborating, having that central goal and then having all those interrelated pieces and then seeing how they interact with each other, and then feeding them into something that will show what a critical path is, right? What's it going to take to get from this point to that point? Oh, well, these all things have to work together. And you can do that visually with the mind map. And like I say, Lucid Chart was one that I used a lot.
So we have a person talking about Apple Notes are great. This is my favorite app for quick thoughts and ideas.
Apple
Hashtag
Notes,
creative whiteboard.
listen, Apple Notes is so simple. It's so simple yet so powerful. And again, 80% of the planet, I don't know if I'll say it that. Well, 70% of the planet has an iPhone. It's an app that comes on the phone, and you don't pay for it.
Right. And you
Right.
can do collaboration.
Yeah, you can collaborate.
You can
You
collaborate.
can do markup. You can mark up, meaning you can draw and things like that. So yeah, Apple Notes is really cool. That's what I started with when I was just coming up with content creation ideas as well. So again, just being somewhere and really quickly firing up Apple Notes, writing them down. But now I use a couple of other tools. So like I said, ClickUp is where locking in all that information for me now.
Yeah. Tech troublemaker. My mind map would be control chaos at best. My thoughts aren't that linear. He is something. One day he's going to get it together. He keeps saying
He's gonna get-
one day he's going to get focused. There you
That's
go.
all
Right
I'm
there.
saying, bro.
Right there. That's all you're saying. So speaking of that, since he brought that up, all this planning that you do and all
Yeah.
these tools that you have, what are your thoughts about really truly doing exactly what we said, focusing down and getting your thoughts down someplace that requires you to think through what you want to do, how you're going to do it, before you start using all the shiny applications and hardware and equipment out there?
I love the product placement there too. Yeah, you definitely gonna need to send me the raw files of this, because that little product placement right there, you're not gonna just gloss over that. Flo over there got the book in her hand. Shouts out to.
Look, my
I'm a
pages
hu-
are turning up and everything.
I love it. I love it. I'm a huge proponent that if you don't write it down, it's not really a goal, right? It's just a plan. If it's just in your head, it's just a plan until you write it down. Then it becomes a goal, right? So I've got a whiteboard over here on this side of my wall right here that has a vision, my vision board. I've got multiple copies of my planner as well that are full as well. And I will write down the next day's activities before I shut down for the evening and make sure I get those top 3 things knocked out. Steve Worthy is a Pomodoro person,
Pomodoro.
right? 15-minute work. I'm a eat the frog kind of person. So different getting things done type of mentalities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna find those top three things, those hard three things, and get those knocked out early in the day. He'll do the Pomodoro. They all work, but again, if you don't write it down, if you don't actually execute on it, find a way to execute on it, put some effort into actually addressing that situation, then you just plan it. Then you forget
Mm-hmm.
about it. You write
Mm-hmm.
it down, it becomes the goal.
Right.
And then you can measure it. Then you can say, I said I was going to do X, Y, and Z. I only did A and B. Oh man, I gotta get it together. I gotta get this stuff done. So I really like the concept and the mindset of taking ownership for what you say you're going to do and actually
Mm-hmm.
getting it done.
Right. Yeah. And that doesn't require any kind of special application.
No,
A old fashioned pen and paper
that's it.
is very. I mean, it's just that simple, and it
Write it down.
sounds.
Markers, little dry erase markers. I got more dry erase markers. But again, because again, that's when you have the skin in the game, right? When you actually have some energy put into it as well. Because we can all sit around Monday morning quarterback pontificate about we can make the world better. We can do all the things, but until you put some action into it, until you put your shoes on, until you actually put that come on now, we about to go to church, but until you actually put some effort and some energy into the activity that you're thinking about,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you're just talking, you're just making noise. Let's rise above the noise and have a plan for execution and a plan for action.
Yeah. So folks are commenting out here, James. They got
Uh oh,
comments. They got
I
comments.
bet they do. Who got the comments, man?
They got comments out here. I'm
They
gonna
got
try to get.
jokes.
I'm gonna try to get to the. Oh, that's even worse. Y'all, I'm gonna get it together. I'm having a time today. But Robert says, I like this. At first, when I heard Pomodoro, I thought people were saying pomegranate, and wondered why folks were enjoying food.
I love it. Good to see you, Robert.
Oh, oh my goodness.
That's
Oh
funny
my
though.
goodness.
You
Oh
got
my
you
goodness.
got to
And
laugh. That was funny.
that was funny. And Roy said he started his LLC this week.
Come on,
So he's
man.
working on getting focused. He's been talking about that. So he's taken the action to move one step closer. Awesome. And
That is huge.
so Frank said is already telling him what his win of the week is.
Yeah,
What his
that's
win of the
huge.
week, what it really is huge. You were sharing some of the other categories that
Yeah.
you were looking for tools in. What are two or three of the other categories that folk would do well to consider employing?
And I when I wrote these down again, I was looking at entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, and folks within the content creation ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will resonate with other industries as well, but so like I said, analytics. I use vidIQ. When you plug that into, I know TubeBuddies out there, and TubeBuddies is good too. So I don't want to say nothing bad about them because just in case they want to do some brand deals, but shouts out to TubeBuddy. But vidIQ has done some things recently that really is leveraging the power of generative AI and coaching. And so generative AI plus real life coaching, meaning that they will analyze your channel, they will analyze your niche, they will analyze what you want to say to your community and actually give you recommendations for prompts, titles, descriptions, content, the whole script as well, based on the information, again, based on that prompt that you feed it. So the higher quality the prompt is that you feed that particular environment, the better the end result. vidIQ has done a fantastic job of doing that. And what I really liked about them that stands above, even outside of that stands above TubeBuddy, is their mobile app. The mobile app for TubeBuddy isn't that great. The mobile app for vidIQ is incredible because again, I can be very efficient regardless of where I am. Have an idea come into the head, type that into vidIQ, say I want to make a video about this. It'll give me questions to ask. It'll give me a generic thumbnail that I could probably use at the beginning until I customize my other one. But it gets me that framework to get me going to where I eventually want to go. So I love vidIQ from an analytics perspective, again, for content creators.
Okay.
Another one was around just creation in and of itself. A lot of folks are using Canva. Canva's okay, right? Canva's okay. Canva's very straightforward, very easy to use, a lot of functionality built into that. So either use that, use something like what was the other one?
You know,
Easel was out there.
Adobe Express is
So
beta
that's
has a
where I was gonna
beta
go.
for their product for
Yeah, so
the
that's where I was
beta.
gonna go. Right. So no Canva is out there, no easels out there, no all those other platforms are out there, but spend some time learning and understanding the Adobe suite. That is transferable to not just the content creation ecosystem and world, but also to graphic design, to a lot of other ecosystems as well, because they utilize Adobe. So no, it's not just Acrobat. Know your Photoshop, know your Lightroom, know your Premiere. No one, Premiere is a little bit more challenging than Final Cut Pro, but Adobe really is that de facto platform for graphic design, content creation. Get a understanding at least of the tool set out there. Um, what else is out there?
Look
The
who
script.
snuck in.
Oh, well, man with multiple channels going. A man with multiple channels.
Good evening, Mr. Strong. Welcome to the show. You
Yeah.
snuck in there.
Well, because he
Sorry.
snuck in with his other channel. That's what
What
it
is
is.
what is new
He's got.
channel? What is new name?
That's all good. Yeah. So and then he said he likes what Canva's doing. So again, Canva's doing some great things, but don't rest on the laurels of just learning one particular platform. Find a way to understand something like a Affinity Designer or something like a anything within the Adobe suite. Get those skills within your tool belt as well, just in case something like one of these other ones falls off. Adobe's not going anywhere. So there's that. I mentioned about Descript again from a content creation perspective. Catch all to do a lot of things, transcribing, micro content distribution, and things like that. Headliner is another one that I utilize as well for cutting up long form video, turning into short form video, making audiograms and things like that. And actually, I use Headliner to automatically pull my long form videos, grab the audio, and then republish that to the playlist on my YouTube channel as an audio podcast.
That's how you get that audio podcast out
Yeah.
so fast.
Yeah. So Headliner does all of that behind the scenes. As soon as I'm done filming a piece of content, a video, Headliner has the feed, the RSS feed for my YouTube channel. It transcribes it, sends it up to the playlist, and then distributes that out as well. Again, efficiencies of scale, utilizing these tools that actually help decrease the amount of time, energy, and effort to get content out to the community.
Okay. So there are a lot of content creators here. One of my beliefs is we sometimes can overlook how much people really do create content just naturally in their life as they're moving along. So the comment that I want to make, and I'm going to, if you need a break, I can put you in the green room for a minute to give you a break. But the comment that I want to make is to remind the community, the audience, the folks who are watching, and including those who are part of the replay crew. You are a creator. If you're doing anything to communicate with other people, to get a message out, these tools will be applicable. You don't have to have, although it's wonderful to do, you don't have to be doing video content on YouTube or LinkedIn or any of them. You may be doing just one. You may be like Mr. Hicks, started out writing, and you may not be publishing it the way he is, but you're doing it in the context of leading your nonprofit or in your profession somewhere. These tools are still applicable. Am I wrong, James?
You're actually you're 100% correct, and I know we've kind of gone all over the place, but again, there's rationale and there's reason behind that because we can't really narrow it down until we hear specific. We being advisors, coaches, whatever the case may be, whatever you want to put on the business card, until we hear what your specific use case is. So I just gave, I don't know, 10 or 12 specific tools that I utilize, use, and test, or whatever the case may be. But until I hear what Roy's particular situation is, until I hear what Steve's particular situation is, then we can narrow down kind of the playing field and say, this works for you, right? You want a tool that will help you with your descriptions and your titles and your blog content. All right, check out Word Hero. check out Otter, right? Check out some of these particular tools and see which one meets your particular use case. I can give you those recommendations, but
Right.
uh,
Well,
it
I
it
mean, just
it's always evolving. It's always growing. But that's the exciting part for us as well, though, to be able to have these conversations. Literally, if we had this conversation next week, I'd give you 10 or 12 different
yeah.
platforms.
So Walter Strong asked a question here about whether Adobe Express can be purchased on a monthly or annual subscription. The thing
Yes.
that I will tell, yes, it can, but I also want to encourage, if you want to try it and get a feel for it, try the free version. The beta is still free right now,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
put the AI in and some other capabilities. So you can either use the version that is gold right now, it's GA, or you can use the beta or switch back and forth between it just to try it
Yeah. Yeah. I
before
mean,
while you're making a decision. That's my would be my advice, especially if you've got something you're using already.
yeah. I mean, and keep in mind, if you do that, the beta is not interoperable. It's not backwards compatible right now
Right.
to the current version. So if you like fired up the GA version right now and tried to switch over to the beta, that content would not be it's not transferable just yet. They haven't crossed the path yet. They haven't crossed the code on those two sides of the platform just yet. So start with the beta, to be honest with you, because that's where they're going.
Where they're going.
So
Right.
learn how to use that generative AI piece. Learn how to use that text to image piece that they have out there. I think there were some other things as well, but yeah, Adobe is the truth, man. You definitely need to at least have an understanding of what Adobe is doing from a digital creator perspective, if that's what your particular industry is.
And we have a new viewer here.
New.
New. He's never been to the show before, so welcome, Sammy Superstar. Of course, I've seen you
Oh,
all over everywhere, and I
what?
know
You
you
never had
know
Sammy
James.
on? Sammy, listen,
I've never had Sammy on, but I've
man, you
I've
winning.
watched him on a lot of things, and of course, see him in the conversations quite often,
Listen, you
quite
winning when
quite
you got
often.
Sammy on. Listen, I
Yeah.
tell you what.
So it
Okay.
looks like we've got some folks who's a little bit familiar with the Adobe Express and products, and so they're encouraging uh, others to participate. And Robert has a comment here about headlines, so it's something that he's used.
Mm,
He's talking about making templates. Oh, I could go down a whole rabbit hole on making templates. We
yeah.
could be
I
here
mean,
another 2 hours talking about the value of using templates.
but again, time saving types of increasing efficiency in our workflow. I just was talking with Neil Motti 2 days ago, CEO at Headliner, about some things that they've had coming out. So they're solid in audio, obviously, right? They're solid in podcasts, but they're really looking at bridging some of the gaps between what they do for video. And I know we're probably running up on time, but I did want to at least talk about that other category of distribution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Uh, yeah, the category of distribution, y'all. Some of y'all know that I will cut up a long form piece of content into micro content in a minute. Well, in a short period of time, because I got some tools, and y'all know I love me some Opus Pro. Opus Pro, I literally have had the CEO, CMO, and CTO in this room back in
Yes.
November. So just saying that we go back, and I advocate for them, right? I advocate for people that are doing good things and they are on the right track. So I really like what they're doing. So again, cutting up long form content, being able to distribute that out to multiple social media platforms. Opus
Right.
Pro is incredible. There's another one that I have just bought into. I literally just bought into it last night. It's called
Wow.
Momento. It's called Momento.
Okay.
So Memento is similar, but again, I like to have three. So this is my second one. But Memento has some varying captions capabilities, has some varying template capabilities, kind of like you were just mentioning, and also has some of that other integration of being able to do similar to these other AI tools, or come up with description, come up with titles, come up with blog content, things of that nature. So it's doing some more of that integration as opposed to just pushing out information. It's allowing you to create information internally to the platform as well. So Momento is that. And then the third one that I'll mention four. Captions. The Captions app. It's only iOS right now, but Captions is, again, I'm sitting there with my iPhone. I'm recording either right to it or I'm inputting information into it. You can do the pretty cool captions. You can do music. You can do jump cuts. You can do a lot of things right through on your mobile phone and then push that out to your social media platforms. So Captions is the third. And then video.ai, VIDYO.ai. That's a similar platform to Opus and Momento.
Okay. Well, we have another. So you know,
I'm just listen.
I got the big
I'm
guns. You
I'm about
dropping
to
some
say I'm
stuff, but
dropping
we got
gems out here, y'all.
Gretchen, who I've seen. Of course, she's part of the Ecamm
Oh, correct.
fam,
I love her.
and she said thanks. She was wondering why she didn't see her content in AE beta. Yeah, that was confusing to me too when I tried it, and I don't do a whole lot of design of anything because I'm not very good at it. I'm learning, as I say, I'm in the learning journey. But the little bit that I have been practicing, when I went over there, I was like, "Where's all my stuff?" So yes, Gretchen, glad we were able to get that answer to you so that you're no longer
Cool
confused. Yeah. So I'm going to just drop this little thing because you talked about. We both are Ecamm users.
Yes.
And Ecamm even has started to put some artificial intelligence into its product, just helping you come up with titles for your videos. But here's what I want you to talk about. When you have a tool like this, Ecamm, and it'll allow you to do something like, hey, I want to get a good title. Do you have to be using that information for a video, or can you use it for something else?
Use it as a framework. Use it as a foundation. Use it as a jumping off point, right? Don't do the John Morant and feed your apology to the NBA into. So I said that specifically for for Walter Strong, right? Don't do the John Morant thing. Feed your apology into Chat GPT and then copy and paste that verbatim and try to submit that. We can see through that. We can see through the very shallow layers of that. So again, feed the prompt some information, let it spit out some information, but then put your personality into it. Put your informational, amusing, informal, happy, whatever your tone around the information is, especially when it comes to titles and descriptions. You really need to be very personal in that. And a lot of us who live in our analytics and look at how our platforms are maturing and things of that nature know that thumbnails, titles, descriptions, things like that are really key in terms of capturing attention of folks. So if you look like you're a robot, you're a robot. But if you put in that James Hicks into it, then you will have a little bit of extra flavor to it. So just use it as a framework, use it as a foundation, use it as again, that jumping off point.
So you got some. James, you got a product. You got a product right here.
Listen,
that needs to be a T-shirt. She's talking your language.
Hey, Keith Pelzer's had a statement last week on Conscious Conversations. I spent out the canvas last night, so we got canvases with what I'll make that. What is it? Framework foundation. Jump on.
Yeah, framework foundation. Jump off point. Yes, that is what she put that. Yeah, that's what she. You know what? This is what you do.
Give me 4 hours.
This is what you do. And to that end, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do this. We're going to say, if you have not, okay, now there it comes, because I didn't load it up. If you have not, and you don't, and I got him on here twice instead of me in here, let me fix that.
I can just wait for Steve Worthy to be saying something right now. We don't
Steve
need to
Worthy.
see 2 of them. We got 2 of them up there. Oh Lord, now we got 3 of them.
We got 3 of them. We got 3 of them. Florence is trying to fix it. Y'all, live happens, and I'm not even gonna run from it. I'm just gonna tell you the truth and just let it be. Let it be.
Lord have mercy. There's 3 of them.
So if you have not, this is Mr. Hicks's website. Hicks New Media.
I got to redo. Look at that old background with the hex cubes and oh my goodness!
I'm not saying anything, But
White balance
you
was
can
all
go to
okay.
this. You can go to his website here. You can talk about whatever you want, sir, because this is your product. This is your property, as we say, where
Yes.
you own what people can find there that can be of use to them.
Yeah. Listen. So own your digital real estate, right? Don't be on rented ground. Don't be on just Facebook. Don't be just on Instagram. Just on Discord. Wherever. Own your name. Own your property to where you can help control the dialogue and control the conversation. HicksNewMedia.com is the home for all things me. I also have JamesHicks.link, which is a much more easily accessible from any location, especially from mobile. And JamesHicks.link has integrations and connectivity into my booking, into my merch, into my YouTube, into all the things, so to speak, right? So, um, yeah, go there, check it out, see what we're doing. Always doing something. I'm literally revamping the entire website as we speak. I still have WordPress in the blood, so I'm in there cowboy coding and changing things as we speak. But yeah, own your digital real estate, folks. That is something that you really need to be doing. Floater muted herself one more again.
She did mute herself, but I was just saying you got somebody heading over to JamesHicks.live right now.
Okay, so I own so many domain names that takes you to my YouTube page. So JamesHicks.live, yeah, takes you
But it's
to
dot
my
link.
YouTube page.
It's dot
Yeah,
link that you just said.
yeah, yeah,
And
JamesHicks.link, LINK.
we
Yeah.
got somebody else in the building with us here. Enda, thank you for joining us tonight. Glad to have you
And
here.
is from he from across the water. So
Oh,
I think it's
wow.
like 2 a.m. his time. I don't know, but
Woo.
yeah, appreciate you for
Woo.
brother for being here.
You know
He like
what?
Alec,
Some people
right?
need to
He in the
stop.
future. He in the future.
You see what they're doing to me?
They doing that to you. I mean,
Right,
not
that's
you.
what they're doing to me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe y'all. That's okay. Hashtag mute nation. You still getting a point because you hearing Mr. Hicks. You need to hear him, not me. Just saying. Be very clear. So I have really peppered you a lot. I
This
can
is
keep
cool. This is a
going.
cool little
This is
conversation,
this
though.
is
I
this is a
normally
cool.
don't get to just chill
Just
and just
chill and
ramble.
not be,
You
but
know?
tell people what they
Yeah,
need to know and
this is
think
dope.
about as
This
you're
is dope.
developing your environment and you're making moves, you're changing, you're growing, growing yourself personally, but you're also growing your organization, whatever size that may be. It may be 5,000 people, it may be 5 people, it may be one person, but these capabilities, these tools will help you with all of them. But Mr. Hicks, you said something, and I defaulted back to, I'm about to get to you. You said something so powerful, and that's not just take the output as it is. My way of saying that is put you in it.
Mm.
Put
Mm-hmm.
you, put you in that message. And to that end, talk about a little bit about how you do that. Is it like if you're writing a blog, or if you're writing a script, or if you're whatever, are you feeding some of your ideas in and then getting some options back? Or are you just saying, give me some ideas and then you tweak those ideas? Which way do you go with that?
So I worked for Apple for 10 years, right? So I'm part of the cult of Mac. I came up with Steve Jobs. I had one of those infamous one-on-ones with Steve Jobs back in Cupertino. And Mr. Jobs was the master at presentations. Whenever he gave a keynote, whenever he gave a session, there was very little words on the screen. A lot of imagery, a lot of visualization, a lot of pictures, and then he would tell the story. So I say all that because that's how I also now utilize technology today for when I'm giving a presentation, doing a conversation, whatever the case. I just have bullet points written down over here of the five categories and then some other things that I wanted to say, and everything else is very personal, off the cuff, ad lib, off the dome, because that brings about me. That brings about the personality, right? That brings about me coming off of the top, figuring out what in the world I want to say, and then engaging with the comments and the conversation and the people that are in the community. If I just sat here and read a script and looked at this and said categories, creation, Adobe Express, super creator, that is dull. No one's going to stay here and listen to that. I would much rather inflect. I would much rather have kind of that tonage within the voice and things of that nature, and be present in conversation. So as I feed information into an algorithm, into a system, I'll get the output and only grab those bullet points, only grab those high level, those 35,000 foot types of conversation pieces that I mentioned before, and then build around that. Because this conversation is going multiple different locations than we probably thought it was when we planned it out. So if I again was just sitting here reading off of a script, it would be fine for me, but it wouldn't resonate with the community.
Right. I'll just share with the community as I've done this live stream and gotten more skilled at it. That was one of the lessons I learned. You can have a direction, but when you're having a conversation, there's so much more that comes out of it if you're willing to invest a little bit. Come prepared,
Yeah.
but invest a little bit. And then, oh, Enda says ChatGPT give kind of cheesy marketing, clickbaity titles, and social media posts. He's using the free version.
That's true though, right? You think
But
about
it
it.
is true. It is true.
Because you can see through that. You can see that it's not 100% baked. It just doesn't feel right. It's that first impression. That doesn't seem like something that you would say. So take the bits and pieces that make sense, and then build on top of that foundation, on top of that framework. That's how folks, again, kind of as I started, should be respectful of this technology. Don't run from it. Learn how to leverage it.
Yeah. You know, you touched on when you were talking about that, some people being concerned about whether it would, and I'm saying air quotes, replace them. But it really truly, and I think leaders need to think about this within their own organizations. Some of the work that currently people are doing, these large language models and generative AI will be doing. So, what do you do to reskill your team, your workforce, to still get the best out of them? Where our brains are for being creative anyway. To get the best out of them. I know this is not strictly AI tools and workflows, but I think it's an important piece of conversation that has to be had because
Yeah,
it's happening. Literally, it's happening right now. You know, that
definitely.
shift.
Yeah, and I mentor and or talk to younger folks coming into the industry and say again, don't be content with what you know today, because in a month it'll be old. So continue to reach out and do those Skillshare courses. Continue to do those Google certifications. Right. Continue to make yourself strategic and not tactical. Right. So if you're worried about AI probably taking your role and having you out in the cold, it's possible it probably will. A lot of occupations and a lot of roles probably will be somehow subverted by some artificial intelligent algorithm, some tool. Unless, however, you learn how to leverage that tool, unless you learn how to be active and engaging of what's coming next. Not trying to tell you to time the market or know, buy this real estate before it becomes available. Not talking about timing stock markets or anything of that nature, but you're aware of what's going on within your particular industry. So stay current, stay aware, stay knowledgeable of what's coming, what's happening right now within your particular industry. If you're in information technology, you know that artificial intelligence, you know that cloud computing, you know that disaster recovery, you know that cyber recovery, you know that these topics are happening within your particular industry. And I mention those because that's what I deal with every single day. Educate yourself, take the onus and take the opportunity and the initiative to get out there and learn what's going on around you. We only see a certain amount of what we are involved in if we just look at our laptops, look at our computers, because literally since COVID, right, since the world stopped, a lot of the world has actually kind of closed in on themselves and has not taken that opportunity to reach back out and to be very creative and to learn and to be engaged. Let's get out of that. Let's be proactive in terms of leveling up, being 10% better than we are this month. Next month, let's be 10% better, either in knowledge, understanding, capability, whatever it is. So be proactive, make yourself strategic instead of tactical. And that way, if something does come along that maybe replaces your current role, your current occupation, or what it is that you do today, you've got the skills to continue to progress down the road.
Yeah. So what other areas do you want to cover? You have on your tickler list right there.
What I got? Let me see.
That you because you said you had a list, so I don't want to.
I think we talked about most of them. Yeah,
Okay.
creation, distribution, analytics, automation, and then the note taking piece. Kind of went through all those, and that really covers the gamut, right? In terms of
Mm-hmm.
the mindset of the content creator journey. How are you going to do it? What are you going to do? Where is it going to go when it's done? Um, and then just being efficient in terms of collecting that information. To be honest with you, those are the things. And please, yeah, let's again. I gave 10 to 15 specific URLs and tools, but let's hold on. I tell you what, let's do this. Put me on full screen again.
There you go.
Tell you what your boy got right here. So I'm gonna give some game here. Futuretools.io, go-to place for me. That right there is where I go on a weekly basis to find out what's coming out brand spanking new in the AI world.
Okay.
As
Awesome.
you see, there are multiple categories in terms of what you can put in for. So, say you're looking for something to do video editing. Top tools that are in the marketplace as of now to do that particular task.
Okay.
No, there's no way in the world that I'm going to go out here and try to learn these 50 tools just for video editing, but I am going to find the ones that are resonating, the ones that have probably the most uptick, are probably interesting to me from a skill perspective, and learn those. Again, being the subject matter expert, being a trusted advisor, being a coach, it's my duty to stay aware of these particular tools and these particular aspects. So futuretools.io. Man, I'm giving y'all a game. Again, I should be charging for this, man. God, man, what's that's okay.
You
I'm
you
gonna
you like this
I'm gonna
you
make
like
that
this
T-shirt.
community. You like this
I'm gonna make that
community.
T-shirt for no. I'm gonna make that T-shirt for Gretchen though.
From
I'm gonna make
Gretchen.
that.
What did Gretchen call it? What did she call it? Let me find it. I'm
No,
gonna
I
find.
wrote it down
You wrote
somewhere.
it down. Okay.
Framework foundation.
Found
Jump
frame.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
listen.
what she did. I'm gonna put it right there over you real quick. But that's what she framework foundation. And then she told you it should be a t-shirt.
You know what? Tell me 2 times. I told
and
give me 4 hours. Just give me 4 hours to come up
and
with a
then
cool
Enda
little
just
look to it.
bookmarked that that thing.
Nice.
And then he's got to say it's freeloading. Freeloading.
That's all
But
right. That's all right.
I'm gonna encourage our community. They're gonna be ready. But I love to hear from you all your productivity win of the week. And it whatever it is, there's nothing and I did it again. See, y'all, live happens. Florence, you know what this was? This was Florence not with my bloopers just
Mm.
before the show, and I didn't go back and change all of these. But your productivity win of the week. What is one thing that you did in your world to improve, elevate, fix a piece of friction that you've been facing in your systems just this week? It could have been small, it could have been big, it could have been medium, but think about something that you did. We want to put those up and share and celebrate with you. To celebrate with you, not just always talk negative to ourselves, but recognize when we're doing great things. So, Mr. Hicks, someone put you on the spot and say, what was your
Oh
win of
Lord,
the week?
man. Okay, let me make sure nobody home because they don't need to know how much I spent. Uh,
Oh, you went crazy on Prime Day.
yeah. Well, before. Okay, so what I did. All right, ain't nobody here. I did. So I picked up another field monitor. So I have another monitor here that I look at, that I have notes, and I have the Ecamm Live program running. So I don't have to stretch over here all the time to see what's going on every time I'm streaming. So I've got one, two, three, four monitors now. So I've consolidated that in four monitors, gotten rid of a ton of lights. I've got got some dope new lights in here too as well. But hey, Steve Worthy, you still there? It's that ZV1 right there, boy. Full frame. God. So what I did?
You
let
went
me
crazy.
What had happened was, and again, it's leveling up again, 10% better. I know that not being humble, but I know that the image is dope already, right? Because I know my camera, I know how to do the ISO, I know how to do white balance, so I know how to do all that. But again, time to level up to get again that 10% better. So going from APS-C to full frame, and bringing in that functionality. So my win of the week is getting this infrastructure in place so I can be that much better in terms of delivering messages and hosting conversations for my community. And I didn't have to tell y'all how much it costs, but because again, I'm
We're
scared
not
my
going to
wife
ask
might
that.
walk in.
We're not going to
Yeah,
ask that. We're
yeah.
not going to talk about that.
Don't do it.
So, so Enda did put something put something in, and so, but it's you could, when he gets there, it's going to be a win, and that is the day when AI can edit his videos completely will be a happy day.
Pretty close, man.
Pretty
Listen, it's
close.
pretty
Pretty
close.
close. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close. That'll be good. That'll be a fun time for you. So those who are in the building with us, in the comments, leave a comment and let us celebrate with you. If you don't have, and if anyone who has a last minute question, put it in, put a Q colon in front of it. Mr. Justin Robinson, welcome to the stream. Haven't met you, sir, but so glad to have you here. You said it did a little crash course on YouTube content creation and got some actionable ways to improve thumbnails, titles, and content.
Boom. Right there. Huh?
That's strong.
That's dope. That's dope right
That
there.
is strong. That is strong. He said he did a little crash course.
I would love to hear a little bit more about that. I bet that's pretty
I
cool.
would like to hear, like, what?
Yeah,
what
you
do
know,
you mean, a
just
little
leaving us
crash
hanging
course?
there. Just didn't look,
Right,
just a little
just
crash
drop
course.
it and walk off. What is that about? What in the heck? What are you doing? You just dropped
Tell
it
me.
and walked off. So if anyone has a question, please put your question in, and we'll get Mr. Hicks to answer it, because we're gonna let him get out of here, because we've been chapping for almost an hour and a
This
half.
is all good. I'm just gonna be setting up this new camera.
This new camera you got.
The lens. Listen, the lens showed up right before we went live, so I got every.
Oh wow! What lens did you get?
So I went with the Viltrox 16 millimeter 1.8. I like it to be very wide from an aperture perspective, so I can be very a lot of blur in the back. I like to have that look going cinematic. But yeah, the ZV1 back to full frame and 16.
Had you moved off of that?
I had
what did you move to?
I had the A7 IV.
Okay.
And this only A7 IV full frame as well. But my issue with that was I got it very early, and it was before they had fixed some of the overheating issues.
Oh, okay. I was
So
thinking.
and the focus breathing, right? It didn't
Okay.
have the focus breathing compensation in that camera. So I sent it back. I can't have my camera breathing on me, and I can't have it overheating within the studio. So went with the FX30, which is dope camera. Lord, I mean, it's got the fan built in
wasn't
and
that
everything.
supposed to be more of a vlogging camera? Or am I confusing it with a different model?
Well, the ZV1 is definitely from a content creation perspective because of the size, right, and just some of the capability, the AI capabilities that's built into this camera as well. You can control it from your mobile phone as well. You can control this entire phone this entire camera from your iPhone. So I love that piece. But my plan is utilizing for business the ZV1 full frame is going to be mounted in the teleprompter static, not going anywhere. When I go out to events, when I go to conferences, like Steve Worthy is, I'm taking the FX30, putting that camera onto my my gimbal and my stabilizer, and being very mobile with that. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got purpose and rationale and reasoning behind this, but again, it was just me being able to level up and step up 10% more to show up for the community.
Okay. Awesome.
That's how I'm justifying it,
That's
y'all.
how you justifying it.
Listen, don't get me in trouble.
I'm not getting you in
Yeah.
trouble. I'm not saying. Mm-mm.
Okay, that's how that's my story, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
This is a case of hashtag mute nation. So no
That's
one
all
else is
good.
putting anything in. Sir, I have totally enjoyed, and I love for my guests to leave us with a word of wisdom. So I'm going to give you
Mm.
the floor, so to speak. I'm stepping off the stage for you to leave this community, the Equipping You community, and we're going to know more about that this month of artificial intelligence conversations around productivity. Leave us with whatever it is that is on your heart that you know we can use and you want to share.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. Before I get into that, I saw the win of the week, productivity win of the week coming in from Gretchen. She says she
Oh, I
designed and
didn't see it.
submitted ad for our local art alliance art walk.
Oh,
That was a check mark, and then for herself, she moved 2,500 photos from her Ray drive. That's pretty darn good
I'm
right there.
sorry, I didn't see that, Gretchen. Thank you for sharing that. That is awesome. And thank you
Yeah,
for calling that out.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty. Listen, my thing is, I guess I'm gonna leave you guys with this. First and foremost, thank you, Flo, for this opportunity. Thank you for having the platform to allow us to have these types of conversations, to be engaged, to be informational, to be fun, to be all the things, and then provide some value to folks that are looking for some information. At the end of the day, that's really what we are doing as content creators and as business owners, and not doing this for ourselves. We're doing this to bring positive value as shepherds of a community to the community. So end all right there. I would say, back to the conversation and the topic and the title for today: productivity tools and tips, and how to be more effective in terms of your workflow. Don't be hesitant to look at what's out there in the marketplace. Don't be hesitant to do something different than you've done for a number of months, a number of years in the past, because these technology streets are changing rapidly, and it's going to behoove you to know what's going on. It's going to behoove you to be in the know of how generative AI can help improve your efficiency, improve your productivity, streamline your workflow, and limit the time that you do the thing. So there's always a price versus a cost conversation. You can spend a lot of money and get a whole bunch of tools in your toolkit and not know how to use any of them, or you can spend the money on the right tools, or you can spend the resource and the mind and the learning on the right tools, two or three or four or five of them, and really become proficient in those. Use those, and then go tell somebody else how to do it as well. Don't just hoard that information. Be willing to share whatever information that you acquire with the folks that are around you, because other folks want to learn as well. We all have a hunger for learning. We all have a hunger for uh, information. And again, if you've got that 10% more than someone else has, do not be afraid to go out there and talk to someone else, and share and bless them with that information as well, so they can come up and be just as great. So again, thanks for this opportunity. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and I appreciate you. We're going to go ahead and close this thing out. So, as I do every week, I'm going to tell you guys good night, and I did it wrong. We will see you next week, and there will be a video link right here for you.